I'm bringing you Lights, Camera and Action. A brand new show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Awaz Entertainment. Hello everyone, good evening. You're watching Lights, Camera, Action. I'm your host, Kubra. I hope you all are doing great. Christmas is around the corner. New Year's is around the corner. I'm excited. I hope you are doing great on these holidays. Keep yourself safe. Wear masks wherever you can so that you are all good and in good health during Christmas and New Year's Eve. So as you know, every episode I get a new guest with me. Tonight I have a very special guest sitting with me. So let me welcome Mr. Sheref Sabawy. Hello, Mr. Sabawy. How are you doing?
How are you, Kubra?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
How was your day today?
Busy as every day. We are hoping to get things wind down a little bit so that we can have a break for Christmas, but
Right.
it's still busy. I'm still hoping that it will go down a little bit so that we can have a little bit of a break.
Absolutely. So all ready for Christmas?
I am trying. Christmas is a very nice time to get with the family, enjoy some good food,
Of course.
some quality time, some good memories.
We are all waiting for this date.
Yes.
And this actually month of the year.
Yes, absolutely.
I hope it's not that cold during the Christmas time and not that heavy snow so that we are actually busy shoveling. We don't want all that.
I know. When there's not much snow, it's good that we can do maybe some barbecue, some
Of course.
stuff. But if it's lots of snow, it's gonna be indoors, and it's still good too.
I know. Any plans for Christmas? Are you going somewhere or are you gonna?
No, I'm gonna enjoy quality time at the house with my
Perfect.
family.
That's so nice. Okay, let me start, Mr. Sabawy.
Yes.
So can you tell us a bit about your background and how come you became a member of provincial parliament?
I don't think anybody can plan to be a member of parliament.
Okay.
Like, I've been activist, I've been helping in the community aspect of things, like in many directions as a human rights activist, start with in the early days, and then a little bit more, become more political. I got a mentor who helped me to understand more about the I would say the landscape, the political landscape in Canada.
Right.
And through that, I started doing outreach. I got to learn about different communities in Canada. And slowly, at some point of time, people start asking me, why don't I entertain the idea of representing? And it happened.
Oh, nice.
So it wasn't planned. And I always say that, like, I got invited many times to speak to the political science students. Right. I always say politics is a career.
Right.
Being politician is not a career.
Okay.
Because you can't plan your career on maybe the stars will line up properly and in 10 years I would be an MP.
Right.
You can't plan it this way. But you can be in politics like staffers, political analysts, journalists who do political analysis, research in politics, lobbyists, like all that. Those are careers. You can be in a lobbyist career. You can be in a political research career, but you can't plan to be. I'm planning in 10 years to be an MP or an MPP.
Right. You cannot plan. It just happens.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. What are some of the key issues that you are focusing on your role as MPP of Mississauga, Erin?
In general, one of the portfolios I was interested on since day one was colleges and universities. As you know, I am IT professor in George Brown Centennial Colleges. Right. So being in the colleges and universities have been like basically part of my career. I do other things as well, but like teaching and being a professor, IT professor is one of them. So I'm interested in that portfolio. So I'm working close with international students, with curriculums, with the foreign credentials was one of my areas which I really worked hard. Like working for workers bill is basically removing the Canadian experience as a qualifier or a factor in credentials, in the foreign credentials evaluation. we seen like engineers who come with 20 years of experience and they still ask them for 2 years Canadian experience, which doesn't make any sense. If an engineer who already worked in international projects or big projects for 20 years and then you ask him to do, oh, we need you to supervise like a house, like 2 stories family home. I don't think this is the experience we're looking for. So one of the issues which we worked very hard on, working for workers 1 and working for workers 2, which was again like lots of new immigrants who come to Canada can't get their certificates in Ontario. They go to Alberta, to Quebec, to Vancouver, and then when they try to come back, they tell them, no, you have to go through the certification again or the licensing again. We don't accept the license. Working for workers 2, exchanging the license to license. If you are qualified with a license in any jurisdiction in Canada recognized by Ontario, he should be exchanging his license immediately if you want to work in Ontario. So those are the aspects of things which make life easier for immigrants. I was speaking about that bill in the parliament. I was saying, I did my dues. I'm already working and professional. My wife did as a doctor. She had to go through hoops to get her license in Ontario. It took us 11 years for her to get her license in Ontario. My kids are here. I'm not doing that for me or any of my family. I'm doing that for thousands and thousands and thousands, generations of immigrants who are gonna come to this country, and I don't want them to go through the same challenges we faced when we arrived.
That's great to hear. Any thing you're doing to address traffic congestion in the area?
Like traffic congestion, you have to be specific. Are you talking about Mississauga, Oakville, Milton, like
Yeah,
traffic?
I would say Mississauga.
Yeah, Mississauga, we have witnessed in Mississauga like exploding number of houses, buildings, and it's gonna grow more. That's why we are creating those corridors where there's a public transportation, rapid public transportation like LRT. So now the LRT corridor from Ontario is about to get in service very soon, hopefully. And we are working hopefully very soon on another corridor horizontally on Dundas corridor. So that will be simulating very similar to the design of the subway in Toronto, like vertical and horizontal, and will manage to link us to Brampton in the north and Oakville in the west, and Toronto Islington in the east.
Okay, nice. And what are some of the key issues facing in Mississauga, and how do you plan to address them?
I think one of the biggest issues in Mississauga, we don't have more lanes, so we have to go up vertical. We don't have really horizontal. I think in housing generally, in the whole Ontario, we have a housing crisis. We already can't find enough houses for people who are here, and we're receiving about 500,000 new immigrants every year. 300 of them at least will be in the GTA area. So 300,000 coming, they want to buy home or rent. And again, like renting now become impossible because anybody in a rental apartment never leaves. So there's no vacancies in rentals. So now we are addressing this issue by the new bills, which actually supposed to expedite the building. Like when we were discussing that bill, the cycle to from the point you get a piece of land to the point you are having a product to sell is 11 years. So if I'm a developer and I buy this piece of land today, I will sell that house, start selling houses in 11 years of today, which is pathetic because we are planning as a government, our target is 1.5 million new houses in 10 years, which means 150,000 per year. If I'm encouraging the developers today and they are go and start a project, I will see those apartments or buildings or houses 11 years from today. That have to change. And it's not something optional, it's a must because we are receiving more people. Like imagine if we are receiving 500,000 every year in 10 years, we're receiving 5 million. Where are you going to put those guys?
Absolutely. What about affordable housing?
You know, affordable housing is a different story though. Like when people start talking about housing, they immediately start talking about affordable. Affordable houses are houses which is subsidized by the government for people who are low income or no income.
Right.
Okay, so we can't say we need developers to do affordable housing because they are not in this business.
So any plans to address this?
Yes,
issue?
we are addressing it through different ways. One of the ways is we need to encourage non-for-profit organizations,
Right.
Civic organizations, ethnic organizations to take over that by removing the developers' fees. So the developing fees or developers' fees from the municipalities, if removed, it's gonna encourage people or non-for-profit organizations who have very small resources to be able to start that through some loaning, some government support, some federal and provincial and municipal support. They will be able to get affordable, like P Living, for example.
Yeah.
P Living is an example of that. There's many buildings in Mississauga who they got the land from the municipalities, they got loan from the provincial and the federal, and they built the building, and the building is still up and running. Co-op again is a good example. They took land from Mississauga City for very small amount or no money at all. They waived their developers' fees. They got some loan from the government. They built those houses, and they are, I think this year will be the 25th year co-op locations in Mississauga. Another way to get affordable housing. But when the people hear affordable housing, they mix that with affordability of the houses. Not affordable houses. Affordable houses are subsidized. And I don't expect developers to subsidize because developer is in there for business. But subsidization and those kind of activities for affordable housing is part of it. Government, social working, social committees, and municipalities.
Okay, nice. And one of the key roles of an MPP is to represent interest of their constituents. How do you ensure that you are meeting the needs of the people of Mississauga?
Well, I am very accessible. Number one, emails. The number one source of information from constituents is email. Why? Because I need to get some documentation. Even when somebody called the office and complain about something, we ask them, we give them the email, we ask them to send them something to us in writing. So if it's a general issue, like general problem, it's an opinion. Somebody is saying, I don't like this bill, I don't like that bill, I'm afraid you are touching the green belt. For example, I can talk about that. It's maybe a good opportunity to talk about that. When they are talking about, the government is building over the green space and we are only building or exchanging 0.3%, not even 0.5. It's 0.3% of lands parcels. We are getting that because it's adjacent to the services lines, so I can easily extend my power lines, my water lines, my sewage lines, and make it ready for developers to build. And I'm exchanging that with another pieces of land and I'm adding more land. We are adding 4,000 acres on top of the green belt in replacement of the lands we had to pull out. And that's not a new thing. It's not one of a time thing. It's not our government is doing it. Liberals in 13 years opened the green belt 17 times. So it's just, I know that people don't like us getting close to the green belt. And we don't want, but there's some areas of the green belt adjacent to the services which can enable us in this 1 year to build between 50 and 60,000 houses.
Okay. And Mississauga is a diverse city with a large immigrant population. How do you plan to address the unique challenges and opportunities facing the communities?
Actually, I look into it more as opportunity. Not as a challenge. The challenge is to make sure that we have enough housing, enough streets, enough services to serve them, hospitals, and we are building the biggest hospital in the Canadian history in Mississauga. So the services, government services, but it's an opportunity for us because those people come with 2 jobs, get jobs, pay property tax, they help the economy in Mississauga. Like they use restaurants, they go to the mall, they shop around. Like this is an opportunity for the business in Mississauga to boom. It's more opportunity than a problem.
Right.
If we plan it properly, if we put the right resources, we should be able to benefit of that. It's in enriching our cultures. You know, if you have 2,000 Pakistanis coming to Mississauga, the Pakistani restaurants will be happy.
Right.
And people who are working clothing, working in festivity, working in culture, the TV channels who are addressing Pakistani community will be happy.
Right.
Same thing with Egyptian, same thing with Indian. Was like this is how the community grow, and I would say prosper.
Right. Okay. So let's take a short break. Hello everyone, welcome back to Lights Camera Action. I'm your host Kubra, and tonight with us, Mr. Sabawy is sitting, and we are actually having a good talk with him. Welcome back.
Thank you, Kubra.
So the next question I would like to ask you is, Mississauga is a home to a number of major businesses and industries, and is an important economic hub in the GTA. How do you plan to support economic growth and development in Mississauga, and what steps do you plan to take to attract new businesses in the city?
Okay. For us, as a provincial government, we encourage business generally, like in whole Ontario.
Okay.
We are not addressing specific areas. But saying that, the six of us have their own local footprint in their ridings, and they are trying to attract businesses to the ridings, to Mississauga. And now the problem is we have lots of businesses who want to come to Mississauga, but there's no spot in Mississauga to come to.
Yeah.
Like it's very difficult to find industrial space. It's very difficult to find retail space. It's very difficult to find housing for the people who are going to come to live in here. So that's what I'm saying when people say, oh my God, we are building almost 100 new high-risers coming to Mississauga. The prices will go down. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's going to be more people coming to Mississauga, more opportunities coming to Mississauga, more business coming to Mississauga.
Nice. And next question is very important. Many residents of Mississauga and Mills are concerned about the rising crime rates. So in the area, as their representative, what measures do you plan to take to address that issue?
Okay. Yes, we see, but as you can, if you heard a few weeks back, we are having lots of special projects, which mean they get a tip, they work on it, they do investigations, and they do a bust. And we have a big bust for drugs. I think it was one of the biggest bust for drugs in like 2 months ago. And about 2 weeks ago, we had a big bust on guns, like smuggled guns. This is what we need to do. We need to continue cracking on gangs and making sure that we drain their sources of the weapons, because those guns are not the licensed guns. Nobody will have a gun which is licensed and go and do a crime with it.
Of course.
Majority, 100% of the crimes happen maybe once in a time, could be by mistake, somebody's cleaning his gun and something happens. But all the guns which is planned to commit a crime, they are smuggled gun. They are not in any registries. They are not carried by a license. Those people go and buy them through gangs, or the gangs themselves have them and they commit crimes with them. That's what we are asking federal government to tighten the borders, tighten the intake, because whatever we can do here, it's not going to help as long as there's lots of guns in the street.
Right. And what is your stance on the current state of healthcare services in the area, and how do you plan to address any shortcomings?
What I would say is healthcare is very big issue. It's not a small issue to address in 2 minutes. There's no bulletproof for that. But what I can say is whatever we do now, which we did a lot since the COVID started, even before the COVID started, and the COVID and after the COVID, it's not going to show up immediately, because to build a hospital takes 7 years. So like it's not going to happen today. If we're adding, for example, the programs we created to train more nurses, supported by the government, paid by the government, we actually pay them money, grants to study to be nurses, and we can exempt them from fees and all kind of incentives to allow more people or encourage more people to go into nursing. They are not going to be nurses tomorrow. It will take them 2 years, 2.5 years maybe.
Right.
So things will start coming. But I would say this issue is not new. It's just that COVID highlighted it more, a spotlight on it, that we are having a falling apart system because of 12 years of total neglect. There is zero investment was done in healthcare for 12 years. And there is actually, I think in McLean or one of the big magazines, Kathleen Wynne confessed, said, I only regret that I didn't invest money in healthcare. So we know that this healthcare system was not getting the right support. There's no planning for the growth. There is no working on the issues. And now COVID came, things showed up that it's a very broken system. That's what we are doing now, but it will take some time to start seeing the results of what we are doing.
And how do you plan to address the support needs of seniors and other vulnerable populations in the community?
This is a big issue, again, like one of the biggest issues, because we have a huge, big population from the seniors, getting in the seniors category now. So we have lots of people need services. We have lots less people to do the service. So we have some gaps, but we've seen it, we are addressing it, we are working on it.
Okay, nice. And can you tell us about a specific initiative or project that you're particularly proud of in your time as an MPP?
Working for Workers 1 and 2 were great bills. I'm very proud of them. Housing is one of the bills which I think lots of people remember this government for the housing initiatives we are doing now, which you will see it very soon in a year, maximum year, 2 years, you'll start seeing huge difference. And I think that will be a story to tell about housing crisis, how we solved that, how we boldly thought out of the box and we did jump it like fences to get it working, getting solutions, out of the box solutions, revolutionary solution, bold solutions. I think that's going to be remembered, this government will be remembered for. And of course, how we did handle the COVID. I think that was like world class. Every government in the world is talking about how Ontario managed the COVID. We did manage it very well. We managed to sustain a lot of small businesses during that tough time. And we are now seeing the levels of employment in some of the sectors exceeded numbers before COVID. So we are already going close to the same level before COVID.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sabawy. It was my immense pleasure to have you on my show.
Thank you very much, Kubra. I really appreciate always addressing the community, speaking to the people from Erin Mills, from Mississauga, from Ontario. And I'm reachable. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. I will be more than happy to explain why and give opinions.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for watching Lights Camera Action. I'm your host Kubra. I would like to say bye to you now and have a very good Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I'll see you again on my next episode with another guest. Thank you very much. Stay happy and stay healthy. Until then, good night. Hi, I'm Kubra. I'm bringing you Lights, Camera and Action. A brand new show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Awaz Entertainment.